Hey there, I'm Rudy with Switchboard Live here, and welcome to Leap into Live Streaming Bootcamp, Mastering Multistreaming. Let's get started. All right, so I thought it'd be good to kind of have a quick agenda to talk about what we're going to go over today. First thing is we're going to talk about what is multi-streaming, how to multi-stream, and then also do a quick demo of Switchboard Cloud. So a little bit about myself. My name is Rudy J. Ellis. I'm the father of 4, husband, and also I'm the CEO of Switchboard Live. And what is Switchboard Live? Switchboard Live is this awesome, fantastic company that makes it really easy for content creators and publishers, big or small, to be able to take a single live piece of content and stream it to all of their social destinations. All about creating virality around live video, increasing exposure, discovery, really maximizing your audience. We started back in 2014 as a company called Joycaster, and we actually did one of the first public multi-streams called the Streamy Awards show. It's an event that's produced by Dick Clark Productions and Tube Filter, and that was an amazing event that really set us on a course to really unpack and really create this new category called multi-streaming. And in 2016, we rebranded as Switchboard Live because our goal is really to make it easy for you to connect and stream out loud. So what is multi-streaming, right? There's different synonyms for multi-streaming like simulcasting and restreaming and multi-publishing. But at the end of the day, multi-streaming is basically taking one single live stream to more than one destination, channel, platform simultaneously. And here's a quick diagram of like what it takes to actually pull off the technical challenge and IT ninja elements to actually do multi-streaming. So here's a quick example of someone, maybe it's you, right? You're streaming your one stream and you have, multiple cameras, multiple encoders, multiple destinations. Think about just being able to pull this off, right? Just the sheer volume of being able to do that. And then there's also the bandwidth, right? You need to make sure that you have the amount of bandwidth to be able to send 3 independent streams, right? But that's what multi-streaming does, right? It makes it easy for you to take that one stream from your encoder, go to a platform, and send it out to Twitch or Facebook Live or YouTube all at the same time, right? It allows you to reach everyone, reduce the complexity that you saw on the other side, and really stay platform independent, right? So you're not putting all your eggs in one basket. And one of the biggest features about multi-streaming is because it is live video, you can actually leverage different types of content, right? So there's this term live, where it means, hey, I am actually going live in the moment right now, and I'm streaming that out, right? And that could be by way of a software encoder, a streaming camera, or any, type of hardware encoder. And that's truly live. But for some people, they may want to be able to pre-package it, right? Be able to control the brand, the narrative, the content, and so forth. And you can actually take that piece of content, which is sometimes used and called it as a VOD, and stream that, right? You can premiere it in a live fashion. You can actually use that to stream in a live delivery mechanism, but it's using a VOD, and that just gives you that, that fear of missing out, or that, notifying people that want to tune in and make sure that they're the first to watch it. So it's definitely, the same flow of either being live or using VOD. You can still do that with multi-streaming. So why would you want to stream to more than one place at the same time, right? Like you think about it, right? Just doing multitasking and doing more than one thing can be a challenge, but why would you really want to stream to more than one place? The ability to really increase your reach, right? Being able to have your content not just go to your own networks, right? It's a given that you're going to stream to your own YouTube channel or Facebook page or Twitter account, whatever. But imagine being able to take that content and going 1 or 2 layers deep. Maybe working with brands or sponsors or even content creators that are in your immediate network that's passionate about the type of content you're producing. You can really extend your reach by just leveraging those, right? You can also A/B test, right? So think about it. If you have an audience that's pretty large and you spent time cultivating and growing them on YouTube, and you're doing whether you're VOD content or live content on a weekly or daily basis, but you also want to test out maybe one of the other platforms like LinkedIn Live or Facebook. Here's a great way to be able to continue to leverage content to go to your, your core YouTube audience. But now you can also, turn on Facebook or LinkedIn and not alienate your already existing audience. So it's a fantastic way to really be able to continue with the current audience, but then also have an opportunity to bring up and begin to cultivate a second audience in parallel. So great way to really leverage and use that as an A/B test tool and be able to see like who engages more on each platform. And you never know. Facebook may, or your LinkedIn page may overtake your current YouTube audience. And then lastly, productivity, right? So this can help out in so many different buckets, right? And a couple that come to mind for me is one, if you did have a live stream and you streamed it to, let's just say, your YouTube channel. So now you want to take that archive file or that produce file and you have to download it, and then you got to upload it to, platform A or platform B or platform C, and that could be Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, or I'm sorry, not YouTube, but maybe LinkedIn as well. And, just the time and effort to be able to do that. If you're multi-streaming, that one stream can hit all three of those at the same time. If you're also thinking about just the ability to, publish, right? So imagine if you were trying to go live to all three of those, and you're this, awesome tech person, and you're able to jury rig or set up some type of, media server and do all of that. But imagine actually going to each platform, configuring each event, configuring each post with the title and the description and metadata, right? It's time, right? And so now you can multi-stream and have your content on all three. You can have one platform, do the distribution, do the title, the description, and the publishing all within one easy go live button. So definitely, one of the biggest reasons to leverage a multi-streaming approach is for, increased reach, being able to test the markets, and then also from a productivity standpoint. Here's an example of the Streamy Awards show. So I mentioned this, in the beginning of the topic, a multi-streaming approach, right? So this, think, 2014. So it's pre-Facebook, it's pre-Instagram, it's pre-Meerkat. So this is, definitely a couple years back. But one of the things that they wanted to do is they wanted their content, and I mean they is the Dick Clark team, Dick Clark production teams, as well as 2Filter, is they had 10 different YouTube channels that were a part of their streaming strategy. And instead of rolling into a truck and sending content back to a head-end unit, they decided to let's figure out if there's a way, if there's a platform or technology that would allow one stream to come out of this. The Beverly Hills Hilton Hotel in California, and then be able to distribute it to these 10 YouTube channels. They were actually using a MySpace page with a branded live event player, as well as Snappy TV for live clipping and publishing. But that right there was a great use case, and just really setting the tone for how multi-streaming can really reduce cost from a hardware and bandwidth standpoint, but then increase the flexibility and the productivity by leveraging a platform to be able to do that, right? And so I think that's just an awesome use case for me, that being a part of that and seeing that happen really set the tone for what multi-streaming, simulcasting, restreaming, multi-publishing could be. And here's another example of something that happened, pretty recent, right? So the Global Citizen and the WHO did a 8-hour live stream, last week, where they published to a ton of social platforms, broadcast TV, OTT platforms. So if you think about it, this is probably the ultimate multi-stream approach, where it's both social and digital and traditional, all seeing the same content, all live, globally, right? And being able to use, a fantastic platform like, Global Citizen, the World Health Organization, to do a fundraiser, obviously for what's going on with the pandemic and the COVID-19. So this is just, an example of multi-streaming at the highest approach, in my opinion. And it was just a fantastic way to really get content and take over, all the platforms really at one time. So there was no way that someone did not see, this live stream because of their total reach that they employed. So where do you multi-stream to, right? So there's all these different platforms, right? There's 20, 30 different destinations, that come to mind. But you as a streamer, right, you want to make sure that you're picking the right ones that are really, really effective for you and your audience. And so I thought this would be a good opportunity just to kind of really, show a graphic to really articulate, the different buckets and how, people think about it, right? So you have Facebook Live, billions of users there, right? People are engaging. That's a great way to really to get some eyeballs on your content, and it should definitely be a part of your strategy, right? From a multi-streaming approach. YouTube, I think if you don't have a YouTube channel, right, you should definitely just incorporate that as part of your distribution strategy. Two big reasons why. One, the second largest search engine behind Google, right? So if you have live content that's published, that has great titling, great metadata, tags, and description, when people are searching for content and you're streaming there, your content's going to show up. Awesome from a library repository standpoint, being able to keep archives. The bit rate that they accept it's 4K essentially, right? So to me, streaming to YouTube is a no-brainer. Whether you leverage it or not, it's something that will make sense, probably in the future, or even right now if you're thinking about how to create this video SEO strategy, as well as archive, repository, discoverability approach. So definitely include YouTube as a part of your strategy. Twitter, Periscope. So there's actually two distinctions, right? So you have, Twitter Media Studio, which is totally evolving. It's growing. You can do scheduled events. You can actually do live clipping, and they also have the ability for you to do live streaming as well. But if you're using Periscope Producer, this is another way to get live video into your Twitter timeline. Periscope Producer is what Switchboard and some of the other third-party platforms are tied in via API, which allows live video to be published to your Twitter timeline. One of the benefits, obviously, for Twitter is it's now, right? It's that real-time element. It's the ability for people to scroll through and watch and hop in and be a part of it. And then if they want to really engage and see more, being able to have a call to action. Where do you want to go? Maybe go to Facebook, go to YouTube to be a part of the conversation. I definitely think Twitter should definitely be a part of that alerting or kind of look-in approach, as well. Down in the lower left-hand corner, we have kind of like your gaming, based platform. So Twitch, obviously the biggest, one that's been out there for a couple of years. You have Mixer, you have DLive. So depending on the type of content you're producing, one of these platforms may make a ton of sense for you. One cool thing to note is with regards to Twitch is gaming isn't the only thing that they have right now, right? So they have this IRL group, which stands for in real life. So if you are outside of the esports or gaming space, there's different categories and communities that your content can fit into as well. So definitely take a look into Twitch if you're looking for a younger demographic, but you want a place to put your content in as well. LinkedIn, right? So LinkedIn is a great platform with regards to business and subject matter experts to really present themselves at their manner from an HR perspective, recruiting. But now that they've also opened up live video, it's just a great platform from a recruiting standpoint to really promote your brand, promote your product, promote the content that you're talking about. And the one thing though with LinkedIn Live is there is a process where you have to be granted or whitelisted. So this isn't something where you can just sign up and then go live in a couple minutes. You actually have to sign up and then be granted the ability to stream to either your personal page or your company page as well. So definitely, if this is a part of your approach, really look into LinkedIn Live as well. And the last corner, I thought it was pretty interesting, where people start to think about their website and OTT platforms like Roku or Apple TV. there's live components within these platforms as well, right? And what I mean by that is you have a Roku channel or Apple TV channel. Depending on the platform that you use, you can tie in, your live content to these channels as well. And think about it. This could also be a part of your multi-stream approach. JW Player is just one of the, web players that you can, embed on your website. You have, there's different players out there like Flow Player and the O Player. But the whole point is you have your social channels, you have your website, you have an OTT. Really, really take a step back and think about how can I, leverage my content to be seen on all these platforms, and how can I leverage these platforms to get my content in front of the right audience. All right, so what's next? It's demo time. I think it's a great opportunity for me to give you a quick demo of Switchboard Cloud. All right, so Switchboard Cloud is our product that allows you to do multi-streaming. It's pretty simple for you to get started. You go to cloud.switchboard.live and you can register, or you can log in if you already have an account. I'm going to log in with my Google credentials, my Google account. And once you log in, there's pretty much 3 things that you need to do, right? So the first thing is you need to make sure you have live video coming from whatever encoder you're using. And you need to make sure you have your destinations, and you also need to make sure you have your title, your description, your metadata. And so right here, this is what we call our workflow. So we have the ability for you to have multiple inputs. So let's say you have multiple encoders. You have, Switchboard Stream, you have Ecamm Live. The key thing that you need is to make sure that your encoders have your stream key and your server information. Those are the 2 key pieces of information that you need to plug into your encoder to make sure that your encoder is talking to Switchboard Cloud. One of the cool things with Ecamm Live is we actually have support for your Switchboard Cloud credentials. So you can actually log into Ecamm Live with your Switchboard Cloud credentials, and there's no need for a copy and paste. It's automatically done behind the scenes for you. And so what I've done, just for sake of time, is I've logged into my Ecamm Live account. I have video coming in, and I'm just showing you that once you go live, you can see the bit rate, the aspect ratio, all the kind of geeky stuff on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, this is our destination area. So as you can see, I already have a YouTube account, I have a Facebook page, and I also have a second YouTube account. So now I'm going to add another destination, and you can either select a new destination or an existing destination. So I'm going to choose Facebook as my destination. And I can also, just kind of show you, like I mentioned earlier, we have support for Facebook and YouTube and Twitch and Cast and Twitter/Periscope, as well as LinkedIn Live. This is pretty straightforward and standard. You're going to link your Switchboard Cloud account to your Facebook account. So you click Authorize, and this will now go out to your Facebook page, and it's going to show you all the accounts that you have accessibility to, whether it's your personal wall, your page, or your group. And so I'm going to select this page that we have as my test page, get my green check of success, and I'm going to close this window. And bam, give myself a virtual high five because I did it. I successfully added a Facebook destination, and it's ready to go live. So once I click finish, you'll notice now that I have 4 destinations within my workflow. I have a YouTube account, 2 Facebook, and then another YouTube at the bottom. And so the next thing I want to do is go into my destinations. Destination Manager is basically the location where you can see all your destinations that you've added. You can actually physically delete and edit the destinations within this manager. So if I want to get rid of a destination I previously added, I can do so here. And I can also add a new one if need be as well. So let's go to the next menu item, which is our templates. And templates is our system for you to basically manage your content, your metadata, right? So your title, your description, the category, all the metadata information that gets published within your live stream. And so what I'm doing right now is I'm just creating a new template, and I'm going to title this an internal leap into live. I'm going to throw in a title that's going to be published, out on the internet. So that's actually what's published to the post. I'm going to choose a YouTube category, and I'm going to quickly fill in a description of my live stream. So if I can spell destinations, that one always gets me. And then lastly, we have full support for tags. So tags, if you ever watch a YouTube video and you see that red hashtag right between like the video and the bar, that's what the tags are there for. It's good for discoverability, for SEO, for searchability, and they also are applicable for content in Facebook as well. So once you put all your information in, it auto saves and you can go back to your workflow page, and now you have a base default template that's set. And the last thing you need to do is just apply that template to this group. So the way we've designed Switchboard Cloud is you can have multiple groups with multiple destinations, and you can actually have different templates for each group. So maybe group A, you want to say, hey, Rudy's live, from his home. And then group B could be going to another person's destination with the same content, but the title and the description could be in their voice, right? It can really showcase what they want to do. So the last thing I did is I just grabbed that active template and I applied it to this group. And you can see that the Leap into Live template name as well as the title is showcased right here. So, and there's multiple ways to start live streams. You can individually, you can group select, you can, choose the one box at the top. So you can really pick and choose. And there could be reasons for that, right? So maybe when you're doing a live event, you want to start maybe the first two destinations that are going to your primary channels first, and you want to keep it in its entirety. But maybe there's a speaker coming up, or a partner, or what have you, and you can start and stop independently the publication to those channels, while the main stream is always going live to your main channels rather. And so right now I've started my 3 destinations, and as you can see, there's a viewer counter that basically allows you to see how many people are watching a live stream, real time. So yeah, that YouTube channel, we'll just get out of here. And a cool feature is if you hover your mouse over the icon, you can actually go directly to the page that you're streaming, or social destination that you're streaming on. And as you can see, there's Rudy's live demo, Switchboard Cloud. There's my title, there's my description. Everything's there that we set in the template, ahead of time. So from a productivity standpoint, that same content is seen across, the 2 Facebook pages as well as my YouTube channel as well. And to stop, it's pretty simple. Just select them all and then hit stop streaming. So hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully that gave you, a quick opportunity just to see what our product Switchboard Cloud can do and how to use it. So let's go back to the webinar. Got it. So how can you multi-stream pretty easily, right? One of the things that we talk about internally is, folks love the concept of being able to go live on multiple destinations. But honestly, what we tell people is, hey, have you streamed to Facebook first? Have you streamed to YouTube first? Have you tried it out? Do you understand the concept? Do you understand what you're getting yourself into, right? So we always say before you can multi-stream, you definitely need to single stream, right? Make sure that you have that workflow down pat, right? Make sure that you know the process before you start running, right? It's always about, you got to definitely, crawl, then you can walk, and then you run. So that crawl phase is definitely single streaming. So we want to make sure that you're able to do that. The second thing is, once you understand, how you're going to do that, is what type of encoder are you going to be using, right? Really identify your encoder needs. Are you going to be using a mobile phone, right? Are you going to use a piece of software like Switcher Studio, Larix, or what have you on your mobile phone that would allow you to take a stream, go to a multi-streaming platform and then send out? Is it a desktop software like Ecamm Live or OBS, right? It is all going to matter whether you're a Mac user or a PC user, right? Really think about your needs as a multi-publisher. There's also hardware encoders like, LiveView Solo or, Aja Hilo, right? So, if you need, just a device where you're plugging in an HDMI camera, you really want to make sure that it fits in with your, multi-streaming approach. And then lastly, are you doing, a sophisticated, advanced, like multi-switching approach? Are you using like a broadcast PIX or Ecamm, kind of switcher? These are all the things that, I think before you start running, you want to, really sit down and map out from an encoding, strategy. And then one thing that I think is pretty important that that will make your multi-streaming approach, pretty easy is, understanding a little bit about like the encoding requirements. What is H.264 and the bit rate and aspect ratio and your audio bit rates and keyframe intervals and things of that nature. Also making sure to understand from the requirements on the platforms, right? Some of the platforms have minimum requirements and title character limits in their title. So these are all the things that we try to kind of make it easy for our customers. But you, as a streamer or a live publisher, you want to just have some knowledge of what's required for the different platforms, so that when you go and do a live stream, you're not running into issues or you're getting frustrated, right? So obviously I'm pretty bullish on the topic, but multi-streaming can definitely be easy. But I think before you start to do so, going back, doing a single stream, identifying your encoder, and understanding the requirements on the platforms will just make that next step, a heck of a lot easier for you as well. Another good question we always get asked is like, how do you promote your multi-streams? And frankly, I think, I don't think there's a delineation between a multi-stream and a live stream. It's really the process of getting your content, to all your destinations. But from a marketing and campaign approach, you really want to make sure that that same logic applies to a multi-stream that you would do with a single stream, right? So making sure that you're mentioning and you're marketing on the platforms that you will be, doing your multi-stream. So whether it's a Facebook post or Instagram post, right? You want to make sure that people know that this event or stream is upcoming. You just can't, stream today and publish to 10 destinations and expect 1 million people to tune in. Unless you're tying in with some, awesome destinations, the chance of that happening are going to be pretty tough, right? Market the date and time, right? So people, need to know when this live stream is going to occur. So just like you do with anything else, you want to make sure that you have a date and time set, as well. Lastly, as you lead up to that, that date and time, do what we like to call a pre-stream, right? Maybe it's, 5-10 minutes, leading up to that. Great way to test your setup, great way to test your multi-streaming, setup. But do a pre-stream to say, hey, in 2 weeks, we're going to be talking about this. We're going to have this guest on, right? Definitely a great way to, to make sure people get, used to your cadence, right? So they know that, hey, this thing is coming and it's, it's building momentum as well. And so consistency is definitely something you want to keep in place as well, right? So if you're streaming, monthly or weekly or daily, whatever that interval is, definitely keep that up. And if it's a one-time event, you want to make sure there is some type of cadence that's leading up to that as well. So consistency, across the board with anything, right, makes a ton of sense, but especially when you're doing live content. Another thing that I think is probably beneficial with multi-streaming that you may or may not be able to do with a single stream is actually leveraging your network, right? So one of the benefits, like I alluded to earlier, is you can definitely publish to multiple social destinations. But if you really take a step back and think about, your audience, think about your network, right? Hey, I'm a content creator, right? I'm a mommy blogger, right? And we talk about, these particular topics. And I do a weekly live show about crafting, right? Or, or whatever it may be. Imagine if you were to be able to identify 5 or 10 other, mommy bloggers that are talking about crafting as well. And you reach out to them and say, hey, I'm doing this weekly show. Could I stream my content to your YouTube channel or your Facebook page as well? Because it's germane to your audience, and I think it'd be, great content. And if that's part of your network, the chances are they may say, yeah, like that'll be great, right? I'd love to extend. I'd love to get, new fresh content in front of my native audience, right? And so that's a fantastic way when you start thinking about how to leverage a multi-streaming approach to get your content in audiences that otherwise you would not be able to reach, right? And so that's the way, I think, and we think, here at Switchboard, multi-streams can really, really be effective, right? The technology to distribute live video and productivity is one thing, but connecting and growing and engaging your audience 2 and 3 levels deep, that's the power of it, right? That's really where you want to, your content to be. Leverage brand ambassadors, leverage sponsors, leverage partners, leverage, subject matter experts to be able to talk about the content you're producing, right? And make sure from a multi-streaming approach, you're putting your content where people are already watching it, right? And that's really one of the benefits of of leveraging multi-streams. And the last point I want to mention is, how do you plan for your multi-streams? One thing that, with just being within Switchboard over the course of a couple of years, I cannot emphasize enough how important testing is, right? Test, and then test again. You want to make sure, that as you're getting things set up, that you're getting your encoder, your platforms, everything needs to be working because it's a live event. You get one shot, right? In most cases, you get one shot to go live unless it's pre-recorded. But definitely make sure the comfortability level, your hardware, your internet connectivity, right? You want to test. If you can test at the venue that you're streaming at, test there. If you're home, you want to make sure that you have great upstream bandwidth, right? Download stream bandwidth doesn't really mean anything from a live streaming perspective. It's all about the upstream. Another thing you could do is before you can set up test channels, right? Set up a test Facebook page, set up a test YouTube channel, and use that to make sure your flow, right? So from content to publishing, you want to make sure that everything works, according to your needs. And then when you go to your actual real channels, you've at least you've gotten that process out, right? You can definitely stream privately to a personal Facebook wall or unlisted YouTube channel. You can do both of that within Switchboard Cloud. We have full support for that. And then lastly, you also want to think about, scheduled versus unscheduled events, right? There are definitely some benefits there. Going back to, the point I made earlier about having, this plan and working backwards. So scheduled events can be a great way so people can get reminders and notifications and countdown timers to know that, hey, this person, this page, this group is going to go live at this date and this time. Versus having an unscheduled event, if you have a cadence where people know that, hey, Rudy or Bob is going to go live, every week at this date and time, they're going to tune in. And when they're liking and subscribing, when you do go live, they will get that notification that you are live, and then they can tune in. So definitely want to make sure, I would say my 3 big points with regards to planning is testing to make sure things work. Create, test channels so you can go through the full process ahead of time, and then really think about whether it needs to be scheduled versus an unscheduled live event. All right. So, a live stream is worth a billion words. Not sure if that's a real quote or not, but I definitely believe that, right? So I wanted to say, thank you for your time. I appreciate if there's any feedback. Here's my contact information. You can definitely, email me. Go to our site. Sign up for a 7-day trial of Switchboard Cloud. We love to get feedback. We want to make sure that product we built it's serving the masses and serving our audience. And so we're big fans of that. And again, thank you for participating. Thank you for your time. And till next time, take care. Bye-bye.